first saw it, I felt awe. It was the most important thing I've seen in my life. It was 1963 and everything seemed so promising, so interesting, so fascinating. When we pointed our devices to it and we saw what it was, we were happy. We were absolutely happy. I even kissed the screen when it showed the final readings. God. And now I can barely look at it. I can barely look at it and not feel real horror, real awe. Jupiter is a big planet. It's the biggest if you were paying attention in school. But how big is it? Well, it's mind-blowingly big. You can fit 963 Earths in Jupiter. Just imagine it. A place so big you could not in your lifetime cross it. And then to make things worse, that place is and has been for millions of years a big, everlasting storm. Winds that can cut through metal and rock. Temperatures that will melt your face in an instant. And of course, radiation. A good freaking lot of radiation. Sometimes I dream I'm falling for ages into that infinite wall of madness, into chaos for all eternity. In my dreams, I get pulled by the winds, by those clouds, and I can only hear the roaring all around me. And I don't know if it is the wind. I don't know if what is roaring is really the wind or something more, something alive. And then I see it. I see it dancing in the middle of the storm. My body getting close to it in the distance. I can see the wheels, the structure of it. I get sucked by it, the speed increasing, making me dizzy, making me sick to my guts. When I'm about to hit it, I finally wake up, covered in sweat. It's not such an uncommon nightmare for me. It wasn't uncommon to the team either. You see, it was, in its moment, something beautiful. An object that defied that atmosphere, that planet, that giant. An object that crashed about 400 years ago into Jupiter's atmosphere. And somehow stayed planted in that atmosphere, resisting the winds, the gravity, the heat, everything. decided to stay. I understood the fact that no paper investigation would come to the light. I didn't care for fame or money. I just wanted to understand that thing, to help. I should have taken the damn amnesia. Forget about that and move on and studying black holes and dark matter. I think I would have been happier that way, or at least I would have avoided those nightmares. In 1985, we deployed the Barrier Project, an array of satellites in the outer Jupiter orbit, to look at that thing closer. We discovered so many things. We could finally see it. We could finally see its form and structure. Imagine a machine the size of a continent, constantly moving, constantly changing its shape, constantly adapting. Imagine the power that machine has to possess, the energy it releases. Hell, we detected parts of it that moved so fast that we couldn't even capture them in infrared. Imagine something that can tear through space and matter as easily as a hot knife through butter. We saw a race of antimatter. We saw a force field made of God knows what that could interrupt the gravitational forces of Jupiter for periods of are there for. They are there to give us a measure of reality. They are there to detect and predict. But when something comes out of the chairs to bite you in the ass, when something just pops up from existence, then you can't fucking predict shit. Then you know that there is something you just can't understand. Something inherently wrong with reality. Is there when you feel like that dream I had, where I fall through the endless clouds of Jupiter, where I hear that monstrous roar, and you feel it is not as far from reality as a fucking satellite disappearing in front of our eyes. So of course, after that little incident, the big guys, in a panic attempt to end the problem, deployed Project Gaigas. And what Project Gaigas was? A satellite that was to get into Europa's orbit, carrying nothing more and nothing less than 30 or so of the latest nuclear warheads, designed to obliterate SCP-2399 out of the face of this universe. Basically, we were going to try and destroy a thing that could manipulate space and could create nuclear explosions out of nowhere with some little missiles. But they had to appear like they did everything in their reach. As you may know, Project Geiger was an absolute fiasco. The bombs were destroyed just like that tungsten round about 10,000 kilometers from their target, not even at 10% of their trajectory. It was a pretty fireworks display, I must say. According to calculations, the projectors would at least travel 100 kilometers before they were intercepted. So, in a new attempt to attack, one of the barrier satellites, Unit 12, positioned itself close to a cluster of rocks that was frequented by drones, close enough to fire its round without being intercepted by whatever intercepted them. A drone showed up with a piece of rock. We fired. The projectile hit its target. The drone reappeared about 10 kilometers from the explosion, and Burial Unit 12 was instantly teared to pieces. No explosion, just teared to pieces. Like all the screws were magically removed from it and just disintegrated into smaller parts. You know, at the time, I wasn't even impressed by that. I wasn't even impressed by that. I just sat there and started laughing at a piece of junk floating through space in tiny bits. I mean, what could we do against something like that? Someone theorized that we could at least incapacitate SCP-2399 systems with a powerful enough electromagnetic pulse, EMP, like in the movies. But of course, you have to be a fucking load of EMP if we even wanted to take on that thing. The project is called Legionnaire 5, and it has to be done with the help of every country in this planet. Legionnaire 5 into orbit, SCP-2399 just teleports to our freaking moon and blows us the fuck up. You see, that thing is not just a thing like I called it. That is a being. That being thinks and is always thinking, always studying, always looking. You wanna see the latest transmissions it has sent? You wanna see what it sent 3 hours after it took one of our satellites? It didn't destroy your satellite, it took it. It probably studied every aspect of it at a speed that we can't dare to understand. After only 3 hours, that SCP-2399 to Barrier Unit 53, it decoded our frequencies, it transmitted into our frequencies, and also it started to send data in the same format we use here. Sorry. SCP-2399 transmitted images and is transmitting images since it took that satellite to us. It captured in video all of our satellites. It captured in video the moment it destroyed Barrier Unit 12. And now the only thing that it transmits day and night